Okay, so it does look like I've got. Okay, so it tells me, oh, like that nice shot of my messy to messy desk. Okay, so let's see here. Maybe get a little light going here. Okay, let's see. It looks like everything was upside down. Let's try this, switching the camera around. See, I'm gone for 1 week, and then it's like I forget everything that I'm doing. Okay. So welcome everybody. I hope my head isn't cut off yet. In the video, I can't quite see it yet to see if that's the case. So I'm just going to start talking while we have a few more people gather. I saw that Ramona's on tonight. Welcome. I don't think I've seen you before, so it's nice to have you join us. What I'm going to do tonight is talk a little bit about some of the stuff going on, and then I've got 3 great cards for you that I have made with sets that have come out of our new January through June mini catalog. I'm having so much fun with this catalog, you guys. If you haven't had a chance to take a peek at it yet, if you don't have a copy of this catalog and you don't have a demonstrator that you already work with in the United States, I'd love to earn your business. Let me know. I'd be happy to send you both a catalog and one of our little Celebration brochures. If you're unfamiliar with Celebration, basically what that is, it's a campaign we do. Last year we did it twice in the year. I don't know if they're going to do it again twice this year, but typically they do it once a year. And there are certain levels of prizes for every $50 you spend. You can earn free gifts from Stamping Up. So it's a great time to enhance your stash of crafting supplies. So let's take a look here. Let's see, we've got a couple people on still here. Hey Kathy, how are you? Welcome, thanks for joining us. So last week I was out, I was sick. I had COVID last week, and my husband and I both had it. I did tell him though, for future reference, that I would prefer that he bring me home flowers rather than infectious diseases. So hopefully now that that's in his head, I'll start getting flowers instead, maybe. But we're all feeling fine now, we're doing well, and we're all back in action. So I missed being able to be here with you guys last week. I'm glad that I'm back this week. And let's see if there's anything else I've got going on to tell you guys about. I don't think so. I just don't live that exciting of a life, I guess. So I'm going to flip this camera around, show you some of the housekeeping stuff going on, and then we're going to dive right into our cards. What do you guys think? So give me a second to get this turned around. Okay, this shouldn't be too bad here. Okay, sorry about the bumping around there. It's still kind of a challenge trying to get the camera exactly the way it needs to be and everything in action here. So, okay, so let's see. I kind of, bear with me here. Okay, so first thing, oh, now it's upside down. Hang on, let's flip it around and see if that helps. It's so funny because on my phone it looks normal, and then on my computer screen it's just the opposite. So there we go. So now it's going to be turned around and it's going to work for us. So that's a good start, having the camera in the right direction. So, okay, so I told you a little bit about Celebration going on. It goes through the end of February, and I'd be happy to send you, like I said, one of these brochures that shows you all the fun and amazing gifts that you can earn for free. There's stamp sets, there's paper packs, there's even at the $100 level, there's a stamp set that comes with paper. So lots of options, a little something to meet everybody's style and interests. So this goes on, like I said, through the end of February. And this is just a little flyer that shows you just a few of those fun little sets or paper packs that are available. Another thing I want to tell you about, if you are interested in joining my team, whether you want to run a business doing like what I do, or even if you just want to be able to get your own stuff at a discount without ever having to sell anything, this is a great time to sign up and join my team, because our starter kit is an amazing deal anyway. It's the best deal that we have. It is $99, and you get to pick $125 worth of products of your choice. Plus you get a paper pumpkin kit, plus you get free shipping, and they get it out to you in the mail right away. You get it pretty quickly. It's a great deal. During Celebration, however, it's an even better deal because you get to pick 2 stamp sets absolutely of your choice out of any of our catalogs to add to that. So in addition to the $125 of products that you're going to get to choose, you get to choose another 2 stamp sets of your choice. And the only limitation on that is they can't be Celebration sets and they can't be Hostess sets. They have to be sets that a person could typically purchase. So, you know, go for the expensive ones. So anyway, if you would like more information about Celebration or joining my team, I'd love to talk to you about it. You can send me a message here on Facebook, or you can send me an email at stamphappenings@gmail.com. I'd love to talk to you about it. Thank you, Kathy. That's very nice of you to say. I'm glad I'm feeling better too. This Saturday, you know that every month with the paper pumpkin kits, I do a Saturday video with alternate ideas. And so this Saturday, I finally got my paper pumpkin kit. And so this Saturday, January 29th at 6 p.m., I will be doing this month's paper pumpkin alternate ideas video. And I would love for you to join us. It's live. It will also be recorded if you can't make it, and posted to Facebook, both Facebook and YouTube, just like I do with my Wednesday night videos. But I'd love it if you could join us live, because it's always more fun with more people. Speaking of paper pumpkin, you have until February 10th to sign up for next month's paper pumpkin kit. And it looks like it's going to be pretty cute. All I know about it is the theme is Safari Celebration, and we've seen little hints like this little elephant guy roller skating away. There's one that I've seen like a monkey who appears to be wearing gym attire, and then there's one of like a gazelle or some sort of horned animal. But that's all we've really seen about it. So I don't know really much about what to expect with this one. I'm hoping that it's going to be cute little animals like this elephant here. But you have until February 10th to sign up for this kit. And then after February 10th, they shut that off and start mailing them out. So if you are interested in ordering yours, now is the time to do it. You can do it at my website at heathersides.stampinup.net. And you can sign up for 3 months, or well, you can sign up for 1 month just to try it out if you want, or you can sign up for 3, 6, or 12-month subscriptions. With Celebration going on, this is a great time to sign up for one of the subscriptions, because you will earn free Celebration gifts with that. So something to keep in mind. I'd love to have you join our Paper Pumpkin Club and come up with some amazing and creative ideas. But even if you aren't necessarily into the idea of creating the ideas on your own, it does come with instructions for 3 different cards that you can make that Stampin' Up! Has already designed. And then I, of course, come up with at least 3 more for my monthly video. And there's a ton of ideas out there on Pinterest. So it's a fun way to get involved with Stampin' Up! So I just wanted to show you, speaking of paper pumpkin, here's a little sneak peek at this month's paper pumpkin that I just got in the mail yesterday, I think. And you can see it's little Valentines, and they're so cute and pretty. And I'm excited to play with them and see what I can come up with. So you can see in here there's some die cuts. There's, let's see here, there's some heart-shaped vellum. The stamps that come with it are really cute here. Let's see, get it going the right direction so you can read them. Little X's and O's and hearts and arrows and all sorts of good stuff that I'm eager to dive into. So that's what I've got as far as housekeeping goes. I'll set that aside and we can get started in our get started in our cards tonight. Hi Tammy, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. So this first card I'm going to make tonight uses our Rainbow of Happiness bundle, and it's got these great little rainbows and the dies that go with it. Also, as a celebration gift, let me get my catalog back, there is some coordinating rainbow paper. Let me find it in here to show you really quick. But this is the paper here. It's got all these different designs, and you get, I want to say, yeah, 48 sheets of all these different designs, and it's so much fun, and you just can't help but smile when you're using it because it's just bright and cheery, and I love it, and it's free. So, you know, can't get much better than free, right? So tonight's card that we're going to make, let me show you what we're making. This one right here, little black and purple action going on. So let's get started on this card. So I've got my card base. This is a half a sheet of cardstock. It's 8.5 by 5.5. It's scored at 4 1/4, which is right down the middle. I'm going to find my bone folder here, so we can get a nice sharp crease on that edge. Now I did a little bit of die cutting ahead of time, but I'm also going to do some for you today just because I want you to see how this die cut set works with these rainbows. But you can see I took about a quarter of a sheet of paper, and I used this die right here. And you can see it actually cut the stripes of the rainbow out in all 4 sizes. So I have a lot of leftovers that I'm going to be able to use for additional cards, which is kind of nice. But what I did is I took several different colors. I took, find the rest of my scraps here. Okay, let's see, I'm missing one here, so we'll get it in a minute. But anyway, I had one that is in our gorgeous grape, then a stripe that was Highland Heather, a stripe that was fresh freesia, and then I wanted a 4th stripe, but we didn't have a 4th purple. So I'm going to show you how I got that. And then, let's see here. Give me just a moment. I need to get that piece of Highland Heather that I seem to be missing, so bear with me. Okay, easy peasy, I just had it over at my workstation. Okay, so as you can see, I cut it out. I had already cut the rainbow out of there, but that's not a big deal because we're going to cover that up. So whenever you are going to be covering up like the center of a piece of paper, you might as well get the most bang for your buck out of your paper and cut your die cuts out of the center of it, because let me show you here. We're going to be covering it up right here, and it's not even going to show that I cut the stuff out of the center. So that does save you a little bit of money when you can reuse your paper that way. So let's see here. Let me set these aside so we can get started. Let's start it on our envelope so we can set it aside and let it dry. This designer series paper actually came from our Pattern Party designer series paper pack, and you can get that as a hostess when you have a party or a personal order of $150 or more. And you can start getting that. You can get it for like $3, or depending on how big your order is, you can even earn it for free. So let's put this on here. But our Pattern Party, it's kind of neat because one side of it is bright colors and just kind of fun patterns, and then the other side is various black and white designs. So it's a very versatile pack. Okay, let's see here. Wow, this glue wanted to dry very, very fast tonight. I'm just going to trim that with my scissors, I think, because it's not coming off very well. So I'm just going to trim like this. I don't often have to cut off the edge like this, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, right? Okay, now we'll trim off this extra. As you know, those of you who follow me regularly know that I like to decorate my envelopes, and sometimes I stamp them and sometimes I put designer series paper on them. And I'm going to do a little both tonight, so hopefully that'll give you a few ideas of things you can do to decorate your own envelopes. Okay, so we got that one. Let's set it aside over there. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and we'll do the inside of our card last, just because we are going to do a little stamping on it. And let me see here. I think this one is just my scratch paper. It is. So, okay, so we're going to set that aside, do the inside in a little bit. Let's go ahead and mount this onto our card. Find my adhesive. Make sure I'm in frame here. Now, if you go over the edge of your paper, I don't know if you can see it here on the video where my adhesive went over the edge. The nice thing about the Stamp and Seal, or Seal Plus, is that when it goes over the edge like that, all you have to do is fold it back and you can tuck it back under your cardstock and then it doesn't show, so it's not a big deal. Now I'm going to put this on here, try to make sure all my margins are roughly the same. Now I've got this piece of designer series paper, and this I cut off with, let me show you which die I used. This nice little edge, and I just trimmed it. You can see I actually did it kind of crooked there, but that's okay because that's not going to show. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put a little glue on here. As you can see, I kind of go back and forth with which adhesives I use. I like them all and I use them for different purposes. But when I'm doing an edge like this, I tend to like to use the liquid glue because it gives me a little bit of wiggle room before that adhesive is really dry. So if I need to scoot it around a little bit or something like that, it just allows me that little bit of movement. So I'm just going to trim this extra off right here. Okay, and now we're just going to mount that right onto the card just like that. Okay. And again, just trying to watch to keep my margins relatively the same everywhere. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I've got my little rainbow pieces, but let's make that fourth rainbow piece first. Remember I said I wanted another shade of purple, but we didn't carry another shade, so I needed to create one. Easy peasy. What I did is I took one of our blending brushes and I took my fresh Freesia ink because it was the lightest color that I had of the purples. And I'm gonna ink it up here, get a little bit off on my scratch paper there, and now I'm just going over this just like this. I'm not going to do it very dark because remember I want it to be lighter than the fresh Freesia cardstock. But I do want it dark enough that you can at least see that it's purple. So I'm just going over this piece of basic white, and I'll go over it a few times just to make sure it's got some color. And I kind of like actually how you can see it's darker in some spots than others. It just gives it a little bit of texture. I like that. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do. I don't want to add a ton of color there. Close up my ink pad. I really like that scalloped edge too, Talina. I've seen lots of cute things done with it. And so I was excited to get to play with it. Okay, now what I'm going to do, get my little cutting and embossing machine. We have two of these. They come in two different sizes, a large one, and then this is our mini one. And I think I might need to grab my big one. My paper's just a little bit too big for this. I was going to say that most of our dies fit through the little one, but there are a few that don't. So let me grab my bigger one. Okay. Now I don't know how much of this is going to get caught on screen here, and I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. But I'm going to take my cardstock that I just colored. I'm going to set it on my plates here. Get my die. Okay, now if I can get this out of the little envelope, what is going on? Okay, so now I'm just lining it up kind of toward the top here because I do have a banner that I'm going to make with that little bit at the bottom there. And I don't know if you can see that, if I'm even on frame or not. Let's feed this through. Sorry about the wiggling. Normally I try to do my die cutting ahead of time, but sometimes there's stuff that I like to show you, and so I'm not able to do it ahead of time. Okay. Oops, and now all of my little pieces came out. And of course I'm not going to use all of them on this card because I only needed one stripe of the rainbow. But now I have a bunch of extras so I can make other cards with that. And with the other shades of purple that I cut out previously. So let's stick this on here just to get it out of the way. Okay. Now I also should grab my trimmer because I'm going to want to make a banner with this little section down at the bottom. So I want to make this about a ½ inch. Let's see here. And I just wanted to make sure I cut off the edge because sometimes the edge ends up a little bit darker where it picks up the brush. So I just wanted to cut that down a little bit. And then it probably only needs to be, looks like about 2 3/4 inches. So let's trim that down as well. Okay, and we'll set that aside for when we do the sentiment in just a little bit. Okay, so I had all these 4 pieces that we cut out. I just want this smallest one for now, so I'm going to set the other ones aside, and I'm going to be able to make now my rainbow with 4 different shades of purple, just like that. Now I wanted to pop them up a little bit, so what I chose to use here, I could use dimensionals, those would work just fine, but I also really like our foam adhesive strips, and I'll show you why. As I pull up one of these and I go to put it on the back of this piece, what I really like about these is they're so narrow I can bend them, make sure I'm in the screen here, I can bend them so that they take on the shape I need them to take on rather than being perfectly straight. So let's do that one. Let's see. And I'm just putting some on the back of each one of these. I really do like these foam adhesive strips. They're really convenient. And they're great for making shaker cards too. I've made a couple before in my lives, so some of you may have seen that before. If you have not seen a shaker card, you should look at some of my other videos that I've got either here or on YouTube that show you how to make them. They're super easy. Okay, so got that last one on there. And then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to stick it right back on here for a later day, or you know, whenever I'm going to use it next. And now we're going to go ahead and put these on. I chose to start with the smallest one because I didn't know exactly how far up to put the dark one. So it was easier to just start with the small one, and I'm lining it up with the bottom and the side. And do the next one, the bottom and the side. See how it comes together really pretty quickly. Okay. And then the last one here. This was a set that when it first came out, I really didn't think I needed to have. And then I started seeing all these really adorable ideas with it. And then I knew I had been wrong and I needed to have it. So I imagine you may be finding yourself in the same boat. Okay, so now I want to use the stamp that says "You Make Me Happy." So let's find it here in my little treasure trove. And I'm going to stamp this with Gorgeous Grape. Okay, let's see, line it up on here. Perfect. Clean off my stamp. Oh, thank you, Marcy. I am feeling much better. Okay, so now we'll put this on the card with just a few dimensionals. I may need to move. Nope, it's okay. So now I'm going to take the backs off of these guys. I should have put that purple ink pad away before I lay down in it, because you know it's just calling to me to lay down in it and get it all over myself. And then I'm just going to line this up kind of right here. And there is the outside of our card. Oh, but wait, there's more. What I'm going to do now is take the white piece that I had here, and we're going to create a rainbow. I have to find the block I was using. Okay, so now with the rainbow stamps, we're going to use these pieces right here and these pieces, and we're going to do the stripes of the rainbow one at a time. So I'm going to move this one out of the way because the dark one is actually going to be the last one that we use. We're going to start with Fresh Freesia. And I'm going to start with the smallest little piece of the rainbow. And for this first one, I'm going to stamp off because remember, I want it lighter than my regular Fresh Freesia. And I'm just stamping it in part so it goes off the edge there. Now I'm going to do, oops, I was going to do the next layer there, but I need the next size of rainbow piece to do that. So let's get that guy. Now we're not going to stamp off this time. There's that layer. Clean off the stamp. I was worried that this would take a long time because you have to do each layer separately, but it actually isn't really too bad. Close the ink pad. Now we're going to use the Highland Heather. Line it up here. And clean off the stamp. And the final one, and my block's a little small for the final one, but it really doesn't matter because we're not stamping the whole image anyway, so that's just fine. that inked up a little bit better. We're going to line it up here. There, and now we have all 4 shades of the purple for our rainbow. And I think this card would be fun to do with any color, doing multiple shades of the same color. Pinks, reds, the red and black would be cool. But I wanted to do something just a little bit different, so I chose to do purples. And those of you who know me know that it just about killed me not to do pink. Okay, so let's go ahead and glue this down to the inside of our card. And there we go. So there is card number 1. Pretty quick and easy, right? So we've got that one. So let me go ahead and clear a little space here. We'll move on to number 2. Okay. Another fun thing you could do, I just wanted to point out, you can take the negative space of your die cut, meaning the piece that you cut your die cut from, and you could do something with that as well. Maybe put that over a colored cardstock or a really pretty DSP, something like that. So don't rule out those negative spaces. You can definitely use those. Okay, so the next card we're going to use, this is using our Valentine set, Sweet Conversations, and the Sweethearts dies. I love this. There's also a matching designer series paper that goes with these. That's in, you know, the light colors of the normal conversation hearts that you see, but there's so much you can do with these that I was really excited. This is another one I was excited to dig in and start playing with. So let me show you what we're going to make tonight. So we have this card right here with a little bit of sparkle using our glimmer paper. I just love this paper. I think it's so pretty. So let's go ahead and get started. Got my half a sheet of cardstock, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, right down middle. And then we have our envelope. Let's go ahead and decorate our envelope. This one we're going to be stamping. So what I'm going to do is I'm just taking a piece of scratch paper and putting it under my flap there so that I don't stamp all over the envelope. So I just get it on the flap. And I'm going to use Pool Party ink. I really like using non-traditional colors for things. I just like, you know, I don't necessarily think outside the box very well when it comes to design, but I do think outside the box pretty well when it comes to color, at least in my opinion, I do. And so I like to do stuff different. So like rather than the normal pinks and purples for Valentine's Day, I like to, you know, do something a little different. Like in this case, the pool party. And all I'm doing here is I'm just stamping the little heart everywhere. Get off the edge there where there's any blank spots. And that's all there is to decorating the envelope. It doesn't have to be anything really fancy, just a little something so that it matches the card inside. It tells the person who's getting it that there's something more exciting than a bill in there. Okay, so let's set the envelope aside. And now let's get started on the rest of our card. So I've got a piece of basic white for the inside of our card. Let's go ahead and do the inside right away because there are some little pieces, and the more we can get going and get them put together, the less likelihood that I will lose them. So another way I like to use my adhesive is I like to use the liquid glue. This is for real fine little details like this that are a little harder to, you can't really put a dimensional on it. It's harder to put adhesive on without it showing through or kind of gumming up the works. So what I do is I just pour a little bit of glue onto my silicone sheet and then use a sponge dauber to glue the back of it. And it doesn't take a whole lot. A little goes a very, very long way. I'm just going to line this up on the bottom here. There. Move my silicone sheet out of the way. And let's go ahead and glue this in. What did I do with my adhesive? I had it a minute ago. There it is. Okay. We're going to stick this on the inside of the card. Whoops, let's do it right side up. Okay, now I've got a little bit of our pool party ribbon. I've got some white baker's twine. I have more of that glimmer paper that I told you. The twine's sticking to my fingers because there's a little bit of glue on them. That little glimmer paper where I already cut out 3 hearts with that. I have a big sheet of it where you can see I cut out my hearts and a little tag because we're going to cover that up. So you might as well make use of the center of that paper. And then I have a piece of our Pool Party Designer Series paper that we're just going to mount right on there, just like that. So let's go ahead and glue that down right now. And see, it just covers up where I cut all that stuff out. So it doesn't even show, and it saves paper. Stick this down to our card. Okay. There. See, now we just have that little edge of shimmer around there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to we're going to do some stamping here now. I just have a little scrap of basic white, and we're going to take the Coastal Cabana. I guess I said earlier Pool Party. It's Coastal Cabana ink. I don't think I meant to do that. I meant to do the Pool Party. That's okay. So we have Coastal Cabana on our envelope, but that's okay. So let's figure out where I put that stamp. Okay. And I'm just going to stamp 2 of these. There we go. Clean off my stamp. And we're going to run these through the cutting and embossing machine. So bring this guy back out. Move some of this stuff out of the way so I don't lose it. And this is going to get run through twice so that I can cut both of these out. I think I'm in the screen there. And I always worry about these sliding out of the way, so I just take a sticky note or something. Some people use washi tape, something that just holds it in place nicely without really adhering strongly to the paper and then tearing the paper when you go to take it off. And you can use it more than once. So there's one of my little hearts. Let's do the other one. Kind of line it up there. Whoops. Okay. Okay. Now we've got that second one. put my die away so that I don't lose it. Move this out of the way. Okay, so now the fun begins. Actually, let's do a little bit more stamping. Let's get all our pieces stamped so that we can cruise ahead here. So I just have a little strip here. It's 1 1/8 by 1 1/8. And we are going to stamp. Let's find the stamp with the message on it. And it says, "Happy to have you in my life." And again, I'm going to use the pool party. Just line it up inside that square. There we go. Perfect. Now I also have this little tag that I cut out of pool party cardstock using the little tag that comes in these dies. And then there's this tiny little tag. I think this guy is so cute that I cut out of the glimmer paper. And we're just going to glue it. Put a little bit of glue on there. And I just have it sticking out the side of our little sentiment there. Stick it on here. And then I had 2 of these little hearts, but I really only did 2 because they're so tiny I was afraid one might get lost. Put a little bit of glue on there. And I got it right there. And we'll set that aside and we'll put it on our card in just a little bit. Now we are going to create our little heart balloons. So I have 5 balloons, or 5 hearts. 3 of them are the glimmer paper and 2 are stamped. First thing I'm going to do is I have 5 little strings of white baker's twine. And I'm going to tape them all onto my hearts to begin with. So that's going to make them look like little balloons. And all I'm doing to glue that, or to get that twine to stay in place, is I have some of my tear and tape. I don't need a very big piece. And I'm just going to hold it there. And tape it down. And I'm going to do that on all 5 of them. So another little piece of tear and tape. Oops. When you've got a little bit of glue on your fingers, the twine wants to follow you. Okay, there's another one. Who else has had a chance to play with this stamp set? Anybody? I did a little bit of playing with some of these stamp sets this weekend. Our Love to Stamp group, the larger group that my team and I belong to, we had a team event this weekend where we got to play with some of the new sets and get some great ideas from some fantastic stampers. And last but not least, Talina says she has this one and loves it. Have you gotten to play with it much except for this weekend? Marcy says she hasn't played with it much yet. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of lay these out and figure out where I want my balloons. Now, I already kind of have an idea since I already made one of these cards, but just to give you an idea of the method to my madness, I just kind of laid them out and thought, okay, this is how I like them. So got them where I wanted them. Now what I'm going to do is, now that I know, I know how I want to lay them out, now I'm going to put dimensionals on 3 of them. So I'll do, let's see. What did I do before? Okay. Ugh. These dimensionals got cut kind of weird and they stick to the backing. It's not a big deal to take it off. It's just, you know, not the way it's supposed to be, as if anything in life is, right? Okay, so I've got my little dimensionals here. I'm going to lay down flat one first. This one doesn't have any dimensionals on it. So I'm going to lay it maybe right about there. And then let's do another one, the other one that doesn't have any dimensionals. And it's okay that right now you can see my ribbons, or my baker's twine kind of tends to be different lengths, and that's okay, because we'll trim it in a minute so that they're all the same. There. So now I've got all of my little baker's twine there. And then just to give it a little bit of extra color, I tried doing my bow with just the baker's twine and it just kind of blended in and I didn't like it as well. So I took some of the Pool Party ribbon here, and it's so, I mean, it's very sheer, so it doesn't even have a whole lot of color to it, which I liked. It just gave it a little bit of something without being obnoxious, because we do have a lot going on with the background paper and the shiny paper and the balloons. You know, there's just a lot going on. So I wanted something kind of subtle. Now this is where you just sort of play with your bow until you get it the way you want it. I used to not like tying bows, just because I couldn't do them well. But you know, there's a lot of things that I found with my stamping that I used to not like to do because I didn't do it well. And then the more I started doing it, the better I got at doing it, and now I don't mind it quite so much. So now I just want to pull this up a little bit here. I'm going to trim my, there, just like that. And well, let's trim that bow too. Okay, and then one other thing I did is I did take a glue dot and put it under my bow just to hold it in place a little bit better. Okay. Okay, let's get off my finger, little bow. There. Now let's go ahead and put our tag on there. Move some of these out of the way. I went out to my living room today and I noticed that I had the backs of dimensionals all over the house. Like I must have had a whole bunch on my slippers or something, and I traipsed them all through the house. I'm just turning this a little bit because I wanted the baker's twine to be coming out the bottom of it so it looked more like a balloon. Okay, now where did it go? Oh, here we go. And I'm going to put some dimensionals on this one. We used a lot of dimensionals on this card. And then I lined this up with the edge of our DSP. And there we go. What do you think? Make sure it's in the frame of the camera. Okay, so that's card number 2. Clear away a little space here, and let's get going on card number 3. And the last one I've got is using this stamp set called Sentimental Swirls. When I saw this in use for the first time, I fell in love with it. I knew I needed to have it. And then I got it and I wasn't sure what to do with it, which is kind of fun. Hi, Lois. I didn't see you join us. Welcome. It's nice to have you. Okay, so for this card, the nice thing about this set really is there is a lot you can do with it that's very simple. And I do like, as much as I like doing my detailed cards sometimes, I like quick and simple sometimes as well. So this is a sheet of Bermuda Bay cut lengthwise. So it's 4 1/4 by 11 and it's scored at 5 1/2 right in the middle. Move my stamps out of the way for a minute here. Guess I should get some stuff out. This is the card we're going to be making. And let you see the inside. And this one I chose to have the decoration coming down from the top instead of up from the bottom like I usually do. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll do our envelope first. So who has this stamp set and who has used it? And who, like me, got it, excited to get it, and then got it and wasn't sure what to do with it? Okay, put this piece on here. Cut off the extra. This card is going to require a little bit of fussy cutting, which I know a lot of people try to steer clear. But I found that the little flowers that we're going to be fussy cutting are actually pretty quick and easy to do. Would it be nice to have a die cut? Absolutely. But we're going to go ahead and fussy cut it tonight, and I promise you it won't be nearly as painful as you think. Okay, so got my envelope here. I'm going to set it aside. I have a piece of basic white for the inside. I have a piece of basic white for the outside. I have a piece of DSP. This is actually part of our Sunshine and Rainbows DSP that I was showing you that you can earn for free with Celebration. And we're going to just mount that right there onto the white. Push that out of the way for a minute. Let's go ahead and do, oh, and then I have a small scrap for a tag and then a scrap to make our flowers. Let's go ahead and do the inside of the card first. So for this one, the first step is I took this big swirl stamp and my basic black ink. And I'm actually not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to come down from the top a little bit like this. There. And then I'm going to set this aside because I'm going to use it again in a moment. Put the lid on. Now for this one, I brought out several colors because I wanted to use the various colors that are in the designer series paper. So you can see there's quite a few there. So let's open these up. And I used Coastal Cabana, Bermuda Bay, Melon Mambo, So Saffron, and Bumblebee. Okay, so for these, let's do a couple. We've got some big flowers and we've got some little flowers, and I have a couple stamp blocks stuck together. Okay, so let's start with a couple of big ones. What I did is put one right out here for the outside of the flower. And you do want to clean your stamp between each one since we're doing all different colors and you don't want to get your colors all mottled. Now for the inside, I used this flower, but I stamped off just because there was some extra something on there, some goobers. Glad I checked that first. Okay, so stamp it off to get rid of some of that ink and then come through and it'll do a little bit lighter shade for you. There. Clean that one off. And I think we're just going to do small ones now. So I've got the Melon Mambo. We'll put that guy right here. Remember, stamp it off before you color it in. Stamp it off. That came out kind of a weird shade. Let's try that again. Weird. Okay, then let's see what else. Let's do maybe some yellow. There. Might as well get one more yellow in, then we've got all the colors, right? Oops, didn't want to stamp that off. There. So just added a little bit of color for the inside of our card. Let's go ahead and mount that into the card so that we don't get stuff on that piece. Okay, let's see here. And I'm just gonna, I don't know if I'm on screen here or not, but I'm trying not to lay my card down in all the inks that I have open. Okay, so I just glued that into the inside of my card. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this designer series paper that I had. I'm gonna take that big swirl again. Ink up my stamp. When I've got a bigger stamp like this, I like to take the ink to the stamp rather than stamping the stamp into the ink pad. It just gives me a little more control. I can have a better idea of where I've got ink and where I still need ink. Okay. And now I'm just going to stick this right here. Kind of in the center left to right, but up a little as far as vertically, because we're going to want some room on the bottom for the little tag. Okay, now clean off this stamp and scoot it out of the way. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take, that's so weird. Oh, I know why I have that. Okay, so let's go ahead and glue these together now because we can. And I just wanted a little tiny white border to make this pop off of the card. We'll go ahead and stick this down to the card now as well. Okay. Okay, so now since we're doing our stamping, let's go ahead and stamp our message, our sentiment onto the tag. And this set, I really like, it comes with a few different sentiments for you, happy birthday, thank you, hello. So it really is a nice versatile set. And I'm going to use the Bermuda Bay ink to stamp my message. I'm going to stamp kind of to the right here, and I'm going to show you why in just a moment. There we go. Clean off my stamp. And now, taking my Pick a Punch, I think it's called. You've seen me use this before. I love to use it to create tags. Let's get it lined up in there. Well, it looks like it's kind of crooked, but there. It's a little crooked, but that's okay. Set it aside for now. Now I'm going to take my little scrap of paper and I'm going to do a couple of a flower in each color, kind of like what we did on the inside. Again, stamp it off before you stamp the inside of the flower, just like that. Okay, let's do one in the Bermuda Bay in the big size. Now we'll do a bunch of little ones. Whoops, I didn't need to stamp off the Coastal Cabana. And these do line up really easily too when you're doing the inside. You know, some stamps it's a little harder to line up the inside, but they line up really nicely. So okay, well, that one, I did not do such a great job lining it up. It's okay, I've got room, I can do a different one. Wow, suddenly it feels like it's 8 billion degrees in here. I'm usually cold. Okay, oops, clean off that stamp. Now we're gonna do a little fussy cutting. Normally I wouldn't make you watch me fussy cut, but this, it's so quick, it's not a problem. Okay, so now I'm just gonna, I find it's easier if I cut out the individual little pieces first, just because then I'm not working with a big piece of paper when I'm trying to cut. Okay, so I'm gonna just cut around these really quick. The trick, I've mentioned this before, and I'm sure you've heard it from other sources as well, but the trick is move the paper, not the scissors. And when I get done, if I find that maybe I cut a little bit more of a border than I wanted, I can trim it down. But I find it's quicker to just cut it and then trim where I need to trim than it is to be really fussy about it while I'm cutting it. Especially because sometimes I get done and I think, oh, wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was. So this one I want to just round out that edge a little bit. Either my husband is home or someone broke into my house to take a shower. I'm hoping it's my husband. Okay, so now doing the little ones. The little ones are super easy to cut. Oops. Oh, I bet I know why she was calling too, because my son is very weird. And he had a lot of really long hair. Like he looked, and he's a big kid, so he looked like Hagrid from Harry Potter. Well, he cut all his hair off the other day, and just to be weird, mailed it to his sister. So I have a feeling she got it today probably, and she's probably calling to say, do you know what your son did? Why, yes, I do know what he did. Do you think I could stop him? Okay, let's see here. See, you can see these are going pretty fast. Especially these little ones. Get this edge here. Okay, now we've only got 2 more to go. I probably should have put my glasses on to do this. It would have been about 1,000 times easier, I'm sure. That little edge there. And last one. Let's see here. So close to the finish line on this, guys. Okay. Oops. This one kind of got boogered up a little bit, so I'm going to trim it down. There we go. Okay, so now, what did I do with my card? There it is. Now we're just going to go ahead and put dimensionals on the back of all of these. The bigger dimensionals fit perfect on the little flowers, but I found that the little dimensionals actually worked better for the bigger flowers because I could get in on those on each petal and one in the center. Oops. Okay, now we're just going to kind of do what we did on the inside, where we're just going to put these on our swirl in various places. I like that one right there. I like to lay down my big ones first, just because then it kind of gives me an idea for spacing for where I want to put all the little ones. It's easier to squeeze a little one in somewhere than it is to squeeze a big one in. So let's see here. Let's put that one right there. There. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tag that we made. I'm going to put some adhesive on there. And I could pop it up, but I kind of liked the idea of the flowers being the only thing that was popped up on here. Looks like I'm going to need to move this just a little bit while I lay this tag down though. There. Just like that. And then, just to add one more little element that's kind of fun, this is our Shimmery Crystal Effects. If you've never used Crystal Effects before, it's kind of cool. It comes out like glue. It's about the consistency of glue. You let it sit and dry, and what it does is it just adds a little dimension or shape to your image wherever you've put it, but it makes it a little more 3D. So for example, I'm going to put it in the center of my flowers. And it does look kind of milky when you first put it on there. And it takes a little while to dry. So this is one of those things that you're gonna, if you use this, you wanna use it and then set your card down and walk away. If you can leave it overnight, that's even better. And it does kind of come out with a little bit of a kiss type of top when you first put it on there, but it settles down so that it's rounded, not pointy. So I don't know, let's see if you can see it in the video, at least to see the how it sticks up. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let's see if we can see it on the finished one. Let's see. But it's right there in the centers of all the flowers. And then, oh, one other thing. Let's put some little, these are our brushed brass butterflies. Yeah, easy for you to say. We're going to put a little of those on. I should have put them on before I put the Crystal Effects on, because you do not want to touch the Crystal Effects, because it starts to set immediately, but it takes a while for it to fully dry. What happens is it starts to set and then you touch it and it leaves fingerprints or it mucks it up. It's not fun. So really what you want to do is add all of your embellishments first and make that be the last thing you put on your card. So I'm just going to put a few of these little brushed brass butterflies on my card. Being careful not to touch my flowers because I don't want to. There we go. So, and I'm not going to, normally I put my card in my envelope like that. I'm going to wait because I want to make sure that that dries. I probably won't put it together like that until tomorrow. So that's what I've got for you guys tonight. We made pretty good time. Let me put some things away and bring out all the stuff we made just so we can kind of take a peek at it again. We've got the one that we just made with the Sentimental Swirls. We've got our little Valentine made with the sparkly hearts. And then we have our purple rainbows. So that's what I've got for you guys tonight. What do you think? It is very addictive, Talina. Talina says that she's addicted to the crystal effects. Yes. Hi, Jason. It's good to see you. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. So that's everything I've got for you guys tonight. If you would like to order any of the supplies that I used tonight or any of the additional supplies to make your own creative projects, please, I would love to earn your business. You can go to my website at heathersides.stampinup.net. If your order's under $150, please use this host code. It helps me to earn free things that I can give away to customers and such. If your order's over $150, don't use the host code because you will have some freebies coming to you from Stampin' Up! And I want to make sure that you receive them. Also remember that it is Celebration. For every $50 that you spend, you can pick one of the goodies out of the Celebration catalog, and I'm happy to send you catalogs if you need them. Just let me know. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye!